Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the No Closer Show, and I am live in Waterloo, New York this afternoon, getting ready and preparing for the amazing and first time Upper New York State Real Estate Investment Summit put on by the Freedom REIA Club out of Rochester. So excited to be here. I'm a little jet lagged after a very early flight out this morning, the first flight out of Austin this morning at 5:40 to Baltimore and then here. And so I'm excited to be here in Waterloo at this casino here, and just checked in. And so what I thought I'd do is, I'm thinking, what should I talk about on the podcast today? And I thought, well, why don't I talk about some of my habits to maximize my speaking events, how to maximize, showing up to an event like this, and how to really capture the audience and make the most of it, okay? Yay, Rochester said no one ever. I was actually born in Rochester, Minnesota, that is. And one of my good friends, Jack Krupe, is from this neck of the woods, now with Gemini Capital Partners, so excited that he's from here. But, good to see Sebastian Ruck out there. We're exchanging text messages on the plane early this morning as you're up at the crack of dawn as well in Miami. But one of the things that I like to do when I get to it, I always like to come in the day before. If I'm speaking in the afternoon, I still want to come in the day before. Why is that? Well, I want to come in and just get settled. I'm tired. I'm jet lagged. I want to come in. I want to stretch out a little bit. I want to unwind a little bit. I want to get something to eat. But my travel preparedness starts before I ever jump on the plane. I'm a big proponent of not eating a heavy meal before you fly, because the last thing you want to do is sit with a heavy meal. Oh, it's not a good thing for 3 hours or 2 hours, however long it is. I don't eat a big breakfast. I might have a breakfast taco at the airport, but I'll have a cup of coffee. I might have a Red Bull. I'm usually pretty easy fast about going to sleep as well if I'm on the plane. I didn't sleep much that time because I was actually using the time to market and reach out to different people, add some people to my LinkedIn connections, some more real estate investors, some more podcasters and things like that along the way, along with reaching out and getting booked on, I booked another 5 shows this morning while flying out here. So I landed. I'm just respectful. I try to talk the flight attendants. I fly Southwest, so I'm always the first one on the plane for the most part, always A1. Big shout out to Steph Goodman for making sure I'm always A1 by checking in. But I get there, just visiting, just being present with the flight attendants. They offered me free drinks. Hey, sure you don't want a free? I'm like, no. Even though I had drink tickets, I'm like, no, thank you. Appreciate it. It's a little too early for me. Get to my rental car. I'm pleasant. They bumped me up, free upgrade to a brand new Ford Mustang convertible. So I'm like driving through the back roads here, just enjoying a nice solid V8. If the weather was nice, I would drop the top down on the convertible and enjoyed it. But it was nice to hit in that aspect of it. And then I get in here and get checked in pleasant. The people at the hosted, oh, hey, great, you came over from Austin. Do you need a glass of champagne? Okay, I'll take a glass of champagne for you. Now that I'm here at the hotel, sure, not drinking. But then I come up the room, check it out real fast, making sure it's going to work for me. Of course it does. It's a gorgeous room here. A brand new casino, so what can be wrong with it, right? Relatively, I think only a year old, so it's a nice spot, nice location. I go to find out where the meeting's going to be at, so I'm familiar with this. Try to see if anybody's around who's handling the meeting. There was nobody there yet. They hadn't started setting the rooms up when I get it. So I said, okay. So I come up here, take out my shirts so I can hang them up, see if I've got to do the poor man's iron of throwing them in the shower and getting them clean and unwrinkled that way. They look good. So then I go down to get something to eat. And I try to eat healthy there too. The only really thing that's open is a buffet. So I loaded up on a lot of vegetables and very little protein, but a lot of vegetables and some salad. A glass of iced tea. And I also start scouting out the event. Is there a spa here? There's a spa. It's because it's a casino. Do they offer massages in case my back locks up, which isn't very likely because we've been doing good stuff. So where's the fitness center? Fitness center's right around the corner. It's open 24/7 with my room key. Awesome. I can get in, get a little bit of cardio tonight, loosen up my legs because I had a heavy lift day yesterday at my office with Thomas Nee, my trainer. So I can be loose as a goose and be ready to rock and roll because the thing kicks off at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And that's part of the reason I want to be here early too, is I'll take a nap here about 2 hours and I'll go down tonight, see if anybody's downstairs there around 6 or 7, just to kind of network with people, see what's going on, and be prepared and get some familiar faces. There's people sitting around getting checked in, coming for the event, obviously you can tell, because I can hear them over saying, I'm here for the Freedom REIA thing. And, just start identifying people so that tomorrow when I start talking, when I go into the room, I can identify who's had a glass of champagne, who likes alcohol, who likes to joke around a little bit. And so that becomes part of my discussion, is one of the jokes I use in really identifying with my audience. I like to make them laugh in the first 30 seconds to a minute if I can, okay? So I've come in, I'm relaxed a little bit, I get changed, like I said, take a nap, take a shower just to kind of cool off a little bit, close the blinds, so I can just relax for a little bit after I'm finished here, okay? And so, like I said, tonight I'll hit the gym, tonight I'll get prepped up there. I've already found that there's the coffee bar right off my elevator has a fruit juicer, so I can get some fruit shakes, a protein shake in the morning versus a heavy breakfast, which will help my energy go. I don't know exactly what I'm speaking, so I always want to prepare for the worst, that if I'm right on in the morning, I'm sure I'm not right on in the morning, I'm sure I'm right before noon or right afternoon for a prime spot, but I'm here all day. So I really have to prepare to make sure my energy stays up all day, okay? So I don't drink a lot of coffee. I might have 1 or 2 cups. If there's nothing else, I'll have it, but I always make sure to bring water. And I was very fortunate enough, God shining on me, when I opened up the trunk of the Mustang, there's literally 3/4 of a case of water sitting in the back seat there. Somebody dropped the car off and didn't even check it out of the trunk. So I'm like, boom, I got my water, brought some bottles in. They're in the fridge getting chilled for me, you know. But I can go down to the fruit smoothie place where I talk to them, hey, do you serve stuff all day? And they got perfect green smoothies for me. That's the best thing I'd love to do. If I can, if I'm speaking after lunch, I won't eat lunch before I speak. I just don't like it. I don't like how the lethargicness of it. I don't like being slowed down by that, which is what happens a lot of times. So my goal, as I've said before, I like hanging around. Hey, Bryce McKenna, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for the love, man. So my goal tomorrow is to hang around with as many people here. Now, when Leon reached out to me, Leon, who runs the Freedom Area here in Rochester, they were hoping to get 200 people. They're not going to have 200 people here. They'll probably have 110, 115, which is okay. It's still what I want to do, okay? If they hadn't gotten 100, I probably would have canceled them just because based on my time and my schedule, I want to at least be speaking in front of 100 people. Otherwise, I could just sit here and do a live stream and talk to you guys and talk to other people as well. So, but they have over 100 people, which is great. So I'm going to be full tilt tomorrow, okay? And so what the things too is people can find me pretty easily, but I don't just want to give them a business card. Okay, so when I come to an event, I'll have a flyer, which I got to print out tonight for it. And I don't care if it's black or white or color. It doesn't really matter the flyer. What I like to do as well, there's not a table for me. If there is a booth where I have a booth, great. I like to have some fun, different swag. Because the swag, I want somebody to take that they're going to market for me. Now, I don't like pens. I don't like thumb drives. Thumb drives are great, but they're really easy to just people walk away with. I want to give something that people are going to take, and they're going to, whether they know it or not, they're going to do some brand awareness for me. They're going to do some advertising for me. And what does that mean? Well, one of the greatest things I love doing is I like going and getting these pop sockets. Everybody loves them for their cell phone. The thing goes on the back of the cell phone, sticky on there. It's got my logo. The lady at the desk already in the gift shop, that I walked through there and grabbed the nice shirt there because my other one I spilled ranch dressing on. So Stacy there, she's there. She's like, oh, I like your pop socket. Like, do you need one? She says, might as well bust it. Sure enough, you know what? I happen to have an extra one for you. Now, you know what she's been doing? She's been advertising for me throughout the weekend. Bingo. I'll give a few of those away throughout the event. I also like bringing stickers because a lot of us, we're just grown-up kids. Can we agree with that, everybody? We're all just grown-up kids, which is kind of funny out there for everybody. Notepads, I'm not a big fan of notepads. Michael Slaywin. Sorry, buddy. I got your name right. Slaywin. Michael Slaywin. And I owe Michael a big apology for mispronouncing your name, my friend, and I apologize. Sorry totally about that. Slaywin. I will never pronounce it wrong again. I don't like notepads because notepads get thrown in the thing, okay? They're great for initially for people to take them, but they don't give a rat's ass about this, okay? So what I like to do is I want to give something that somebody's probably going to use. So I pull out the really nice stickers. The really nice stickers that people love. They love these things. It's not a small sticker. It's a big freaking sticker. So they put it on their water bottles. They put it on their laptops. They put it on their bumper. You know, they put it somewhere where they're going to carry with them. This is a little bit too big for their cell phone, but I also get some other things. I got some I Love Notes stickers, some really nice stuff, and I order my stuff from Sticker Mule, okay? Sticker Mule does a great job, but if you can't see here, I got my little logo right there. We close notes in there. I love notes, okay? So some people are going to slap these on their laptop, and they'll be marketing for me. Now, I ordered from Sticker Mule, got these, came in, I put a rush order on. Inexpensive. I ordered about 500 different stickers. It was like $200 because these are really nice. It cost me about 75 cents a piece, and it just varies on how bulk I order. But I ordered different sizes for different things. But these are going to go like hotcakes. This and the freaking pop sockets. are going to go like hotcakes. People are going to be walking billboards for me, okay? And I'm not going to just give it all out willy-nilly to people to the prize pigs, because there are two types of people that come to events. And this is why it's important if you're going to be speaking at different events out there. I know many people in our tribe like to speak. They're looking to speak at different REIA clubs. They're looking to maybe start their own REIA club or start speaking on stage more. There are two classifications of people that show up to events. You have the people that are serious about it, that are there to take notes, to learn something, okay? And then you also have the prize pigs. And this goes back to my radio days, and then also working at Verizon Wireless College, was prize pigs are people that show up for the free shit. The free shit all day long. They love the free stuff. That's what they do. They don't buy anything. They just show up for the free giveies. The free candy, the free cookies, the free stuff. Okay? All right, so that's why if my giveaways, I don't want my giveaways to be too expensive. Sometimes I'll bring my books. Sometimes I'll bring a bunch of my books, which cost me about $5-6 a piece of print for 100 or so. I didn't get any extra in time. That's fine, but these are cheap to give away. I'll give this away, but it's going to work in my favor too. They use it, great. It'll be something they advertise for. Okay. Now, when you start speaking, when you start going out to things too, you never want to go. I mean, you're going to want to cut your teeth on free events or very cheap events like meetup groups, real estate club meetings, stuff like that, where it's $20 or free, stuff like that. That's a great way to hone yourself. But when you start taking your time serious, what you have to realize is if you're going to an event, and this is one big thing that I have really focused on in the last 2 years, is qualifying my audience. And it's not my audience, qualifying the audience I'm speaking as, I think is a better thing. And I get real estate clubs that call me all the time when we come speak. And if they're local, I don't mind coming if it's free. If it's like an hour, 2 hour radius, I'll go to it. If it's like Quest IRA or something like that, I'll be glad to go to it. Okay, because I know that Quest has done a good job of qualifying their audience. But if there's a REIA club meeting that's a couple hours away and it's a free event, they don't charge for the REIA, I just don't go to it. The reason for that is there will be no money in the room when you're speaking. And that's not trying to sound arrogant, but if I'm going and I'm offering up a class or something, I want to make sure if I'm going that people are willing to have the money to pay for it. I don't want to go if it's free because there's no investment on their part. And free has zero value. Free has no value. Okay? And I want people that are going to value their time. Because if they're coming to a free event, they don't really value their time. They're probably not the ideal things. And I think it's important across the board. I think Faquan will agree with me on that. A few others I see out there that are live, they're running groups. So free has no value. So I would rather talk to 100 people that have paid $100 to an event than an event that has 1,000 people that have paid zero. Okay? I get pitched on going to these big like business fairs and stuff like that, small business expos, and I'm like, okay, how much is a person paying to be there? Oh, it's free. I'm not going to go. It's not going to be worth my time. You want me to pay $5,000 to go to an event, to have a booth, have taken up time on my schedule where there's no investment on the people coming. I want to go to an event where there's investment on both sides. My time is valuable. What I'm bringing to the table, what I'm sharing, and I'm not one of these guys that when I speak for 60 or 90 minutes, it's all pitch. I'm going to give a good 60 to 75 minutes of good quality content before I offer my workshops. And the beautiful thing that I think is important is I think it's an opportunity if somebody signs up for my workshop. I think they have an opportunity to learn something good. They're going to get some great marketing, get some great capital raise. Hey, if they don't stick it with the notes, that's fine. They're going to at least get value. And that's one of the things I pride myself on, is that we get a lot of people that reach out to me and say, Scott, great, notes didn't work out to me, but I learned how to market from you. I learned how to use social media. I learned how to raise private capital from you, and you helped me on that in form or fashion. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine. I don't need the money from teaching. Do I enjoy teaching? Does it add some money to me? Of course I make some money teaching and speaking. It's great. It adds some more money to our bottom line. It's very easy. It adds investors. It helps me find deals. It helps me find buyers for my assets, which is the whole reason why I started speaking in the front end. And I think that comes across in my discussions. I give a lot of content. I can crack up and be funny about it. I can have a good time with my audience. I can poke fun at it. But I'm also there for the long haul. Okay? I'm not one of these people. I don't like to fly in and speak and then be gone. I just don't like that. I don't think that's fair to the audience. I just don't think that's fair. I want to be around the audience for the whole event, whether it's 1 day or 2 days or 4 days. And if I can't do that, it's very hard for me. I'll give you a great example. Aaron Young, great buddy, one of our great sponsors of the podcast here with Laughlin Associates and a dear friend. I have a standing time. Anytime I want to come to his Laughlin Associates, the Magnify Your Wealth Summit, I'm more than welcome to let me speak. Well, 6 months ago, I went to the event just for the day, just to meet with the attorneys, just to meet with Kevin Day, my asset protection, just to meet with Brent Bousquet, who's working on my Rockefeller strategy. Okay, just meet. He's like, "You're shooting my time." I'm like, "No, dude, I don't need to speak." It was great seeing Bill Griesmer and Eric Hyde there, who were there taking a class. But I'm not there to speak. I just literally want to talk. I don't need a booth. I don't need to take appointments. I'm in for a few hours and I'm out. I don't need to speak. I'm not pitching anything. I'm just here for myself to learn about that aspect. Yeah, there's a lot of people I do there, but I was like, it's not fair for me just to show up and leave. And I know some people do that, and that's fine. Some people say that maybe I don't value my time for the 4 days, but I like it because I build a connection. People get a chance to know me a little bit more during that 2 days or 3 days by having lunch or having cocktails or being there in the morning to visit with them or being there late at night to talk with them. And that's the thing I will be here tomorrow from 8 a.m. or before that, 7:30 probably, till about 8 o'clock at night tomorrow night. I'll be here all day. I might take a quick hour break to come up the room, freshen up a little bit after I speak, let the adrenaline rush kind of cool me down a little bit, freshen and go back down there and play full tilt, because I'm excited to spend some time with Jeffrey Outlaw, Mr. Landlord, who's going to be speaking here. Him and I are the two big names speaking here, because I'm excited because in January in the Bahamas, the 16th to the 19th, Jeffrey Taylor is having his Mr. Landlord retreat at the Atlantis Resort, and he's asked me to become speaking. I'm excited about that. We're going to actually do some promotions and email blasts out to him, because I think it'd be a great thing for some of our mastermind and our Note family, Note tribe, to go to as well. So you see some more information about that. But I'm glad to hang out with Jeffrey, visit with him, catch up. It's been too long. He's asked me to come to a couple of his conferences around Memorial Day weekend every time. And Memorial Day, for the last 4 years, I've been on a boat and somewhere in the middle of the ocean, I think, for the most part. So, but I'm excited and honored. And that's part of the reason I'm looking at this. They don't have 200 people here, but at least they have 100, which is great. I talked with Leon, who runs the club, gave him some great marketing ideas. I see he's working on some stuff. We made some other arrangements and some things. So we're going to make the best of this and have a great time. I'm going to miss the fact that Stephanie Goodman's not here. My right arm is okay. She's staying home, taking care of stuff, getting stuff done at the house and the office, working with our bookkeepers and things like that. But the thing I want to say is I play full tilt. And that's one of the big things I think a lot of people are afraid to do. I want to go sit in the things. I want to learn something. I see so many times people go to an event and then they're out in the hallway the entire time. They're not inside listening. They think they're too good to listen to what's going on stage with the speakers. And I think that's the biggest travesty that you can do, and the biggest disservice you can do to the people that invited you. Now, if you paid and you want to do that, that's completely fine. But if you're there as a guest, or you're there as a speaker, or you were there free because somebody that comped you into the event, you not being in the event, not talking, not listening, not networking with the other people that are attending, it's a disservice on your part. Okay? It's a disservice on your part. And there's a lot, I am very particular about where I go. I don't speak at many expos or many summits anymore for the most part, because if I already know most of the people in the room, it's not really worth me speaking there. I'm excited to be here because I've not spoken here before in Rochester, and it's a great little event for me to be in and out for a day. I only, it's basically, I'm going to lose 2 days, Friday and Sunday, but I'll be able to get a little work done tonight. I'll get a little bit of work. I'll be home before 10 o'clock on Sunday night, and hopefully add another 100 plus people to our database, and a chunk of those will be students that come to our Note family. So if I can, thing I look at, if I can bring on 5 people, I want to do more than that. When I speak in an audience, especially if I'm allowed to sell my workshops, I want to hit at least 25 to 35% of the principals in the room. And I don't mean people. If you got 100 people, but they're married couples, that's only 50 principals for the most part, okay? So let's just say there's 60 principals, and so if I want to do 25% of those in the audience, that means that it would be 15 sales. That would be a very nice day. Be a nice hour and a half. That would pay for my time for the full day, plus expenses, everything else. And then there's splits. Whenever you're speaking somewhere and you're promoting something or selling something, there's usually a split to the person who's the promoter. So I'll be giving a chunk of that, of my sales, to the promoter here, because they put on the event. They brought these people together. They worked their marketing to get people here to get them in the butts and the seats, and that's the important thing. So a couple of things, like I said, start off with. First thing, this is kind of my 3 principles of traveling, okay? 1, arrive early so you can be there, you can get settled in, avoid the jet lag. The reason I also like to come early too is avoid any flight delays, okay? Any flight delays to get bumped, you want to be here early. You wouldn't want to fly in early, try to fly out, and then your flight's delayed, you never make it. And then it puts stress on the event. No, I want to get here early, so if my flight was delayed a couple hours, I still arrive early, okay? Show up early, get settled in, figure your locations, get in your best mood, your best feel, get the energy around you great. Get a good night's sleep. Don't drink a lot, but be prepared to give, to serve the audience that you're at. Have a servant mindset when you're at speaking to them. It's very important. It's one of the things I walk in. How can I give to the audience? How can I help deliver? That's the first thing. So by being able to deliver, I got to be here and be my best spirits, okay? Second thing, just be here and be strategic in your marketing. If you're just able to talk and not to give away or not selling a class, like I say, swag is important. Or you also use a thing like text messaging service. Hey, if you'd like my notes, okay? Text the word notes to 72,000, okay? That means I forgot I gotta go on here tonight and tweak something with that so that I can adjust who uses that tomorrow during my presentation. But if I am speaking and I'm offering up a workshop, I want to make sure and be around for those, because oftentimes, well, I'll do pretty good sales at the front end. Over half my sales usually come later in the day as I get a chance to visit with those people one-on-one, to talk with them. Because let's face it, everybody, okay, whether it's a 500 thing, okay, whether it's a 500 workshop or a $1,000 workshop, the biggest thing is everybody values their money. And I respect them of that, okay? And a lot of people like to, especially when you have a 1-day event or 2-day event or a 3-day event, they want to see, they may have a limited budget. You have to respect that. So I'm not a big fan of, hey, go to the back of the room and sign up now. Some people like to do that. I dislike that. I think it's very cheesy. That's my opinion. I want to offer a value to them and just hang out and give them a chance to know me, get a chance to see me. Get a chance to jump online. They can see our social media profiles. They can see the videos that we do. Provide all the extras that they don't just get in an hour and a half when they're on stage. Yeah, because we'll have a good time. I promise that. They'll understand that they'll have a good time. We'll get them laughing, and they'll learn something about the note business and walk away. Because that's one of the most valuable things that I love is walking off stage and having people come to me. You made notes a lot easier than I've ever seen it before. You made it sound a lot easier. You educated me. You didn't talk over my head like a lot of people do. You didn't make it complicated. You talked very simple, layman's terms that everybody can understand. And that's an important factor when you're speaking to somebody too. When you're speaking in front of an audience, you don't want to confuse your audience, whether it's on a webinar or live. If you're doing a PowerPoint, make it very organized. Be respectful of the time, okay? Because if the person speaking before you was on time and got off on time, you need to be respectful of the person after you. There's nothing more rude at an event when somebody goes over their time. Now, if it's at the end of the day, that's a different thing. And if the promoter tells you it's okay to go a little bit longer, we've got some flexible or somebody in it early, that's great. But there's somebody who's waiting to go right after you, that's extremely rude for you to go longer, okay? Be respectful of the time that they gave you. Plus, I'll tell you this right now, if you start going longer than an hour and a half, most people's brains can only absorb what their ass can withstand, okay? Most people need a break after an hour and a half. They need to get up, stretch their legs, run to the restroom, grab a cup of water, fresh cup of coffee, or just reset their brain to get up, go outside, and come back. After an hour and a half, you're just bludgeoning people to death with their information, okay? You're just bludgeoning them to death, okay? So it's important in your presentation, when you're talking, not to bludgeon them to death. Keep it humorous. Make it easy to read. And here's another thing, too, about when you're giving a presentation, an event. If you're speaking, if the promoter has given you a speaking spot, okay? Whoops. If the promoter has given you a speaking spot, they've already given you power, okay? You already have authority with the audience. So for you to come up with your presentation and you have your first 4 slides be all about you and all how awesome you are, that's a disservice to the audience as well. You don't need to tell how big and bad you are. You're already in front of everybody there. They already understand that. So you want to keep the about you when you're presenting to maybe just 1 slide, okay? And you want to offer up something that's different. You want to grab their attention in the first couple of minutes into something different, okay? Well, I'll tell a joke, or I'll talk about the 4 shapes. What do they see? All right? Try to stick them to laugh. And part of that, like I said earlier, is baited with when I'm being here early to find out who's drinking. Is this a drinking crowd? Is this a crowd, again, we're at a casino, of course. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? Or gambling. I'll make something to get everybody laughing, and that's when I got them. Okay. There's other times I've used when I've come in before and there's been a lot of uproar talking. One of the things I like to try to do, especially if it's been a longer day, I'll have everybody stand up in my first minute or two, turn around, stretch, give a massage, a back massage or whatever to the person next to them, turn it and take it, and then sit back down. But getting them, the act of standing up and then the act of sitting down puts you in control of your audience, and that's a very important thing. If people are loud talking, you need to shush them. You need to get them to be quiet. I've actually confiscated phones from people who were on their phones in the front who were distracting people around them. They may not like me, but I already knew if they were on their phones, they weren't going to be my ideal client. They weren't going to be the ideal person because they don't find value in what I'm doing, so they're being more of a distraction to the people next to them. So it's okay to be a little bit of an ass from the front of the stage if it's going to be better for the best of the audience, okay? It's the best of the rest of the crowd there, your tribe that's there. So that's one thing. Like I say, I like to get everybody on the same page. Or I get to people talking, I want the room to be listening. If somebody be loud, I'm going to ask them to go outside. Or if the doors are open in the back and they're loud in the audience, I'm going to ask them to close the doors so that it doesn't distract from those in here. Because I think we've all been there, right? All been an event. We maybe get there late, and we're in the back 2-3 rows, and all we can hear when we hear somebody speaking is the people behind us out in the hallway and or in the back of the room. And that's important to get them to shush, get them to be quiet, and go from there. Okay? And then just be yourself. Be great. Don't have 50 million slides. Understand the 10, 20, 30 rule when it comes to giving a presentation. 10 slides equals 20 minutes of content. And you want everything to be in 30-point font on your slide. Sorry, I went blank there. Jet lag just kicked in. 10 slides equals 20 minutes of content in 30-point font. If you're going to have to put more on the screen on your PowerPoint slides that cause the font to shrink down in the low 20s, the 18s, it's too small, nobody can see it. So I've already scouted out my room. I know what the room's going to set up. There's not an aisle down the middle, which I like having an aisle down the middle. It's a little bit awkward room and a little stuff there. So I don't have to go to the sides of the audience. I know I'm going to have some pictures. I'm going to have to go back and tweak my slides to add a few things to keep their focus on the slides, which is important. Steph always wonders why I'm always tweaking my slides the night before. Why can't you just use the same presentation? And I often am using the same presentation 90% of the time. I'm adding a little bit of extra things. I'm tweaking some dates. I'm adding a few different images. I'm tweaking up my stories that I tell, because that's another thing too, and I think I'll wrap it up with that point, is if you're speaking, don't just read from the PowerPoint. It does you no good to turn your back on the audience and read from the PowerPoint. It's a disservice. If that's the case, just give them the PowerPoint and go home. Okay? What you want to do is have your PowerPoint serve as your highlighted items. Okay? It's like your notepad for you're going to talk about. 4 or 5 points on a slide. Okay? It's like an index card. 4 or 5 points. Here's your story 1, story 2, story 3, story 4. Okay? You should know your stories like the back of your hand. And this is one of the great things that I've had speaking coaches tell me about, that have taught me. My buddy Greg Reed told me this, is get to know your 6 or 7 stories or your 4 or 5 stories you can tell them and know it inside and out. Practice it, practice it, practice it. And I practiced and said my same stories a lot of times. Now I add different examples because I don't want the example from 4 years ago being the same thing. All right? But you practice your stories to the point where you know exactly when to pause. And you know when the audience is going to gasp or they're going to sigh, okay? And you practice and practice and practice those. It makes you a better speaker. It makes you a better educator. It makes you a better salesperson when you can talk with the audience and have a conversation that goes back and forth with them like that. And so I've gotten a lot of that from speakers like Greg and just so many people out there that I've learned from speaking over the years. But another thing that I love going to is I love going to comedy shows, stand-up comedy clubs, and watching the comedy guys, the comedians, the male and female comedians, and listening to their jokes and their puns and how they work an audience and how they can joke back and forth with people individually. That's one of the most valuable things that has helped me be a better speaker, is seeing people bomb doing that and realize, okay, what did they do wrong? What did they do good? What did they do wrong? And go from there. And so when I speak, I am always the most difficult person. Like I said, when I speak, I am the biggest critique of my own. Okay? Oh, hey, Mr. Potato Head. Hey, Steve Taylor, how's it going? I'm the biggest complaint. I'm the biggest critic of my own stuff. I want to know how I did. What did I do good? What did I stumble on? I usually know what I did, but I want to see if anybody else picked it up. What was the count in the room? What was the final head count? So that's always a big thing I like to know because I keep that for myself. and knowing kind of how I can compare that to how I end up closing and things. But when you come to an event, when you start speaking, you got to realize this is a craft. It's another muscle that you have to work on, and you're not going to be great at it right off the bat. Okay? I've never known a great speaker to be excellent at it right off the bat. It takes time. You're going to screw up and go from there. Okay? Stevie Taylor, I don't know what he means by talking dirty, but anyway. Jeffrey, how much have you learned from Esther's Follies in Austin, Texas? There's some great things. I've learned some great stuff. I don't want to say I'm the magician that the magician at Esther's Follies does, which is really good. But I've learned just joking about that stuff. I took theater in high school, some things like that, one-night play and things like that, helped out in college and things. But I think more so than anything else is just don't be afraid to make fun of yourself. I will joke at myself throughout the presentation in a good way, just to get everybody feeling it at home and to go from there. I have a tendency sometimes to let too many cuss words slide out. I'll say too many shits or things like that. It slides out when I do. I always try to watch that depending on my audience and where my audience is at. I'll still say it because that's just, every once in a while it just slips out. And it also depends on the mood that I'm in. Try to always go into your speaking event or to conference in a good space. Do not let little things distract you. Do not let other people's negativity, other people's negative energy drag you down. Avoid them. Avoid the crap. That's why it's often good just to get away sometimes, to go to a quiet space and just focus on where you're at. Bring a positive. If you bring a negative energy, a lot of people can feel it and sense it immediately, and it's something that's they don't want to be a part of, they want to walk away from. Okay? So be positive. Let's recap this real fast again. We'll let you go on this special Friday afternoon edition of the Note Closure Show. Show up early and be prepared, okay? Play full tilt, all right? And be respectful of your audience and your time, okay? Those are three of the biggest things that you can do when you're out at an event, whether you're speaking or you're just showing up and networking, because you never know. At some point, if you show up and play full tilt, you'll never know when an opportunity may present itself that you may get thrust into the thing. I had some things happen. I went to a summit in St. Louis a few years ago, and it was in February, and a blizzard blew in, okay? Literally a blizzard blew in, and they went from having like 200 people to like 75 people. We arrived before the blizzard comes in. Over half the speakers weren't able to make it for a 2-day event, okay? And this was in St. Louis. So I had my speaking event, but I ended up having like 3 other speaking events to fill, because the promoter came to me and he's like, hey, I've got this spot. Would you be able to talk about anything? Would you be able to add anything or do a second discussion on things? I'm like, yeah, I can talk about raising capital, I can talk about marketing. And so it allowed for it to be one of my most successful events, speaking-wise, because I was flexible in what I did. I was able to get the chance to know the audience a little better. I adjusted my pricing to take advantage of what was going on in the audience there so that everybody could chime in, because everybody was pretty good, but I wanted to make it worth their time, make sure I walked out with some great students. So biggest thing I can tell you like that, everybody out there, is just do the right thing. Like I say, show up early, play full tilt, and be respectful, and you'll often turn an event into something amazing that a lot of other speakers or the attendees just won't get, because they just don't play by those 3 rules. So once again, I want to thank all of you for tuning in here on Facebook Live. For those that are listening on iTunes, on Stitcher, on the Roku, the smart TV channels out there, thank you so much. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. I'm always humbled at the amount of downloads that we're getting and those that respond back with the emails and the comments on the social media platforms. So once again, thank you so much for being part of our Note family. If you could do us a huge favor, go out, subscribe, and leave a review on any of those channels. I would be very appreciative of it, that you would do that. But once again, as always, very humble that you guys take time to listen into what this big potato head has to say about what goes on in life in the note industry. But once again, everybody, go out, take action. If you're going to an event, keep those 3 things in mind. I guarantee you'll do a lot better, and before too long, we'll see you all at the top. Bye.